I forgot to unmute my mic. We forgot to unmute our mics so we could do our trademark chatter over the theme song.
Yeah, what happened with that? I was Mike kept thinking I was trying to talk to him directly, and I was trying to,
it's been so long since we've done the show.
I was trying to do the banter, and it didn't work.
We couldn't remember how it went. So people just had the opportunity then to just create their own lyrics to the song. We should do that. We should have a contest sometime for lyrics to the theme song.
That's a good idea.
We should each write our own lyrics and then have a riff off.
That's a great. I like it.
Let's do that.
Yeah, this is all a big scheme by Lee.
Put
his own music out.
All right.
Super echoey, Mike. Super echoey.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting the echo from here too.
Is someone's speaker on? Are you guys like sitting opposite each other at a table?
Yes.
Yes, we are.
I'm here. Is someone's speaker on?
We're playing footsie under the table, huh?
Rob, you're not echoing, but Mike is. That's weird. Mike, you're just not allowed to talk on this show. So
typical. Yeah, I think it's if anybody's speakers on, it's gonna be. Wait, hold on.
Are you piping this over like the loudspeaker at work? Is that? No, that's.
Oh, are you gonna do that? Are you gonna try that?
That's just not professional looking. Mike should have some sort of an avatar there. I'm gonna drop him off.
What is that? What is that, sir? You just got thrown off. Yeah,
it's a little perfect. Oh, look, he came back in a different place.
He's attending. He is actually moving into another room.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't hear you. See, we had to make adjustments. We were going to record in the studio today.
Yeah.
And we got held up at the office.
Yeah.
And there was a huge thunderstorm outside. So we figured it would slow us even more. We figured we would improvise and jump on now.
Yeah, Mike told me that you guys were going to head to the studio and not tell me.
Yeah, and I want to try, actually. I don't like using this headphone. This is actually our company's headset that we use when we on the warehouse floor. This is what our customers use. So it's not ideal for recording. So I want to try to actually take my headphone off and use the laptop.
Oh, I think that'll create an echo.
You think it will?
I think so. If the audio is, yeah, I mean, can you not hear well? Because I think it sounds
actually
good.
It's better now that Mike's not here. I think that was causing some problems.
This might be the most riveting show open we've ever done.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I know. There it is.
That sounds better.
Yeah, I figured it would, and I knew it wasn't going to get any better unless I moved.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Awesome.
So
did anybody notice my name?
What does that mean?
I know where you're
Does
going.
Does anybody get what that's all about? That
yes.
Is that a new fragrance you're introducing?
Is that about the BFR?
Huh?
Is that about the BFR?
It's about the demo too. Did anybody watch the launch?
Yes.
Oh, the SpaceX.
I officially adopted myself into the Elon Musk family.
Oh, is that what that means?
Yeah, I'm a Musk now.
Shouldn't your name be like ampersand pi COVID-19 or something?
If I was his son or daughter, yes, but I'm just a cousin. I'm a distant cousin.
Oh,
yeah. So I'm putting myself into the Elon Musk family.
Okay.
I'm a huge fan. I've never been a fan big enough that I would actually change my last name, but I decided I'm going to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were introducing
that awesome.
alone.
No, I don't think anybody would want my scent.
Oh gosh.
I don't know.
Right, Mike? Mike has to smell it every day.
Mike smells like you sometimes.
It would smell like a combination of curry and
cheese
and hand sanitizer. Yeah. Anyway, why are we here? What are we doing?
I
don't know. Is my mic loud enough? Do you guys hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Okay.
You're no softer than you usually are. You're a very soft-spoken gentleman.
Yeah. I am.
Oh, what is this? Where'd he go?
It's a good question.
This is amazing.
Yeah. I can't believe we've been on for 6 minutes. This is absolutely a train wreck.
Our guest is going to hang up because
more so than usual.
This is like
I wouldn't blame her. So listen, we have a special guest today, and it's someone that I invited to. I thought would be really good to come on the show. She was in my RCIA class as an instructor. She taught one of the subjects. I don't remember which, or she was. I can't remember if she was there just to help mentor or if she was there to instruct some of the subjects.
Maybe she remembers.
Yeah, she'll have to remember. But that was, at this point, 11 years ago that I went through RCIA. So
I was going to say, really memorable, Mike. You were featuring her, and you can't even remember what she taught. She's somebody that you remembered that was really special to you.
Well, I mean, since then, through the church and through being in the church together, we were also on pastoral council. She asked Amy and I to be on pastoral council for a while. And then she is always the person that takes care of all the schedules for any of the like the lectors or the communion. She takes care of all of that. And basically anything else that goes on that the priest needs help with, Bridget's there. So she's got a lot of let's just bring her into the show. Hi, Bridget.
So you were pretty instrumental in Mike coming into the church.
I was, but I have to explain something first, and that is.
I just wanted to ask, what is your level of disappointment?
I don't have any. I was going to tell you how entertained I was while I was waiting. I couldn't hear the banter while you were, muted, but I really enjoyed the theme music and the little logo floating by. It was fun, and so I was grinning. And had you turned my camera on, I would have looked so happy to be here. But then that went on for a while longer. And,
that's the effect we have on people.
It's nice. It's a very nice opening.
Thanks.
So
did you come up with any lyrics to it while you were listening?
I didn't, but I thought that, if you have lyrics, I'll judge for you.
Okay, cool. Yeah. We'll do that. That'll be a future show.
Sure.
The voice, Locust style.
So did you hear my introduction?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much for remembering me so well.
Mike's crappy introduction? I'm sorry. I mean, it was fine.
No, see, it's a good thing that he didn't know if I was an instructor or not, because that's kind of the point, I think. We are from St. Teresa of Kolkata Parish, and it's recently combined from a series of other parishes, and we hope to make people feel welcome. We take very seriously the idea of meeting people where they are, and love of Christ isn't always academic. So there's a lot of conversation in that, and there's a lot of faith sharing. And I think if you were to walk into one of our RCIA classes, you wouldn't necessarily know who the instructor was all the time. Not to say that we sidestep, we don't sidestep the teaching, but a new guy wondering what was going on and having all of that thrown at him, I could see that.
Yeah, a lot of non-Catholic Christians have this bend that the Catholics don't follow the Bible. They don't use it. They go in and they just say a few things and then they leave. What you just said, the depth of knowledge and the meaning and the accumulation of that over time. And then, I was blown away in RCI on the level of detail that we got into. And it wasn't boring detail. It was relevant, interesting, and very much in depth, and things that I've never learned from any other setting outside of Catholicism. So I just want to agree with what you said there as far as like the RCI folks and what the content you go through is very valuable.
I think it's a great tool. I left the church for a long time. I know Lee asked me earlier if I was a cradle Catholic, and I kind of had to say yes and no because I left for maybe 25 years and came back again about 14 years ago. And, I'm not good at math, so that makes me 32. I'm just saying. But I found joining RCIA classes and going to the classes where catechists are taught how to teach was really helpful because you need people to talk to. Do you understand something in a certain way at 17 that needs to grow? And I think everybody should go to RCIA. And I don't think, we often invite lots of parishioners to come. A lot of folks don't want to, but it's helpful to have a good faith community. When someone's coming into the church, they should have somebody to sit with and somebody to ask questions of, and, somebody you can trust. And when you have those kinds of discussions, you build that trust. So my 2 cents.
Lee also taught some RCIA classes, if I'm not mistaken, didn't you, Lee?
I am on the RCIA team, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, we should have thought about doing a bake-off between the two of them. That would have been excellent. Where we ask a few questions and kind of get the style so we can, browbeat Lee on how much better Bridget is than Lee. We should have thought through that.
No spotlight at all.
So, Bridget, you were on the RCIA team when Mike came through RCIA, right? And I was on the team when Rob came through.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. That is excellent.
Yeah.
I've been not getting the presents I thought I was going to get every year. I just thought, something.
I got some presents.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it's pretty nice.
What are you talking about? What's the presents
Bible.
about?
Well,
Oh, you mean after the RCIA?
Thank you for being my RCIA lady, but that didn't.
Oh,
no,
yeah. One thing I noticed that I also loved about the RCIA class, I mean, one obviously is I have a really strong, at least one-sided friendship with Lee. I don't know how he feels about me, but I feel strongly about him.
I would say that's
yeah, so but I feel like it's almost like a fraternity. It's not only the teachers that in that year class, but the people that I participated with it. We always, when we walk into church or we see each other anywhere, at least we give a nod and a fist bump or whatever, because we felt like we went through something. Yeah, we went through something productive together, and we experienced, I could tell you one of my best experiences in my life that surprised me, and the RCIA team didn't prepare me for it, was when I was when they put you in front and you officially become a member of the church. And and announcing that with all of us standing in front of the whole congregation. And by the way, the congregation was full of people. And our church that we go to is a huge church. And I could look at every one of those faces, and when they announced, they all gave us a standing ovation, and you could see pure joy on all of their faces. And that just warmed my heart. I started crying, and I wasn't even expecting, and I'm like, great, the camera's on me, and I'm crying like a little baby here. But it totally threw me off. I wasn't expecting that. But it's like the celebration and the embrace of some dumb outsider like me coming into the church. I've felt more welcome in that situation than I ever have in a church.
That's nice.
What you don't know though is that it's actually a lot like NASCAR. Like half the people are just there to see you crash and burn. So half the people left disappointed that night.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's just a great experience.
So Rob,
what was it for you? Was that similar to? Is that just what John and Paul does, or is that where everybody does? Is it is it kind of like they throw you in front of everybody?
Yes.
Yeah,
it was really nice too. And then I'll never forget, I did the washing of the feet during the whole RCIA process.
You know how stressed I was? I was asked to do that too, and I thought it was a joke. I was the one out of the RCIA class. And my wife knows how bad my feet look, and she was very close to Father Mac. And she's like, there is no way you're going to have him wash your foot in the condition that it is. She made me get a pedicure. She made me get all the crap off the bottom of my foot. It was a huge ordeal. And then he had me so stressed out about putting my one foot out because of him having to wash it. Yeah, it was.
That would have been great if you would have gotten there, and then it would have been like, hey, Rob, little change. We're going to need you to sit on the other side of the aisle. You're like, no.
Exactly.
So he has to use his gnarly foot.
Yeah.
This is why converts are fun. We can get you to do anything.
Yeah.
Clearly.
That's another thing you and I have, Mike, is we got our feet.
I was going to say, I had the feeling that maybe they had tricked Mike and made him do the washing in his church.
It sounded like. Yeah.
No,
We didn't think that, I guess.
I did what Rob did, and I went and had my nails done on my feet. So
Wow.
they were nice and pretty and red, bright red.
Delaney painted them for you.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, but other than that, we did, as I recall, went up in front of the congregation, and they plotted, and we denounced the devil and that sort of thing. So,
You denounced him or renounced him?
He
What's
renounced
the
him.
difference?
He was
what
nervous.
did I say?
You said denounced. You just stood up there and made fun of him.
Yeah, what's the difference?
Like, what do you think about the devil? I think he sucks, man.
You know what I especially remember about RCIA though? There was a lady in our RCIA class. She was one of the instructors. I don't remember her name, but she said as a little girl, she had collector's cards, saints collector's cards. And so the front of like baseball cards. So the front of the card would show the picture of the saint, and you turn it over and there'd be stats on the saint or whatever. And she said that when she was a little girl, she really, really wanted to be a saint when she grew up. And she would dress like the saints and play, dress up as the saints. Do you remember her?
I do not. Well, I don't remember that story.
Yeah, she was very colorful. Just a great lady to have around. So, not Paula. It was. I don't remember her name. It escapes me, but yeah. So that definitely stood out to me, was the story she would tell about that.
Bridget, if it's not overly personal, one thing that interested me, and because like I've stepped away from the church for a good while too. I had some pretty crappy things happen, and I rejected God instead of embracing Him even more. And so, what inspired you to, if it's not too personal, what inspired you to go back to the church? Like, what was there an event or something in particular that you're like, I need to start going back?
I want to first tell you why I left.
Okay, yeah.
I left really because I felt absolutely invisible. It wouldn't have mattered to anybody if I was involved or not. And I'm going to be very blunt here and say that the role of women in the Catholic Church was not always what it is. And so there's some degree of degradation and derision for people who would choose to become more involved. So I just said, well, why would I want to hang out with people if they're going to treat me like that, right? Mm-hmm. That's what that was. And so, yeah, fast forwarding close to 25 years and spending a good bit of time, with a Catholic family and Christian family, and just not being with them during those times. And even having discussions with my son to say, it's just not for me. These are the things that I can't resolve. Doesn't make it a bad church, but it makes it bad for me right now. And so I'm kind of glad that I wasn't as vicious as some people can become when they, walk away from a relationship, because that's leaving that door somewhat open has allowed my son to feel a little more comfortable, asking questions and saying, is this really what happened? Is that really what he meant? Those sorts of things. Because I think if I'd been more vicious, that I would have lost him too, to Christ. So I was driving home from work one day, and I worked in Baldwin, and I used to cut through Carrick and Brookline to get home to Mount Lebanon. And I don't know why once on Brownsville Road, I did a U-turn in front of St. Basil and pulled over. And I sat there while I'm literally saying out loud to myself, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Got out of the car, walked in, and went to Mass. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? I watched the Mass. I didn't do anything. I didn't participate. I just kind of sat there. And when I left, I picked up one of the flyers for confession. All the time, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? What's wrong with you? But I couldn't let go of the paper, And I tried to go to confession, and the diocesan website was not up to date. So I was showing up at places like Okay, well, I guess I'm not ready for this confession anyway. And believe me, for a 25-year confession, you can imagine how thrilled I was that the door was locked. Okay, and I couldn't get in. But one day it was open, and I went to confession, and he said, "Bless me, Father. It's been 25 years since my last confession." And he said, "Welcome home."
Really? Oh, that's an awesome story.
Home. And I said, "Father, I thought I was supposed to bring like Gatorade and a power bar. We're going to be here a minute." And he's like, "You're good." It was nice. It was just smooth and easy and honestly, thoroughly spirit driven. And so then I started calling my family. It's like, so I went to confession today. That leap that you have to take, that admission when you're back. So and it all went very well.
It's funny that you had some power over you. You can't attest to what it was, but there was something that you couldn't get that out of your hand, and you stayed where. Yeah,
I drove around with it in the front seat. I don't know why I went to mass. I just don't know. And actually, I don't know the guy's name. I don't know who the priest was, but he stays on my prayer list. I call him Saint Basil Dude. I don't know who he is, but I pray for Saint Basil Dude every day.
That's a cool name.
Yeah, that was a moving story, Bridget.
And that's why I started going to RCIA to catch up on what I missed. Well, maybe I didn't get it. Maybe I didn't understand it. Maybe it meant something different than what I thought it did. But yes, all those things were true. And so I thought, well, I can share that. I can help people feel comfortable coming into the Catholic Church. So I like it. And the woman who runs it now does this tremendous job, and she really tries to keep people together outside of class, and doing service projects and all kinds of things. So it's become even more immersive. So
I think that message is really strong. I can tell. I mean, obviously, I don't come from that area. I'm still a newish Catholic, but I think there's a lot of Catholics that were raised Catholic, and they're following what they were always thought they were supposed to be doing and running an autopilot and really not understanding why they're going other than this is what I've always done.
Yeah.
And they could be something major in their life, or some major thought could infiltrate their life on like, why am I doing this? This is ridiculous. I'm just going to stop going. Like, I think your message is really strong in saying, hey, you should kind of examine, you're coming here. You should try to dive in and understand why you're coming, not from the point of leaving, but I should dive in a little more and understand what this is all about.
I felt and continue to feel a very serious drive to reclaim what's mine, and to reclaim the Eucharist, and to not let myself be driven from the church and driven from the Eucharist, whether that's for an influence of Satan or evil in my life, or bad relationships, or any number of other things that make people say, I'm just going to stay away. I'm not doing it again. It's my job to be there, and it's my great joy to be there. So I'm talking too much. You guys say something.
Well, no, that's why you're here.
That's true. That's why we're all looking at you at the same time. No pressure. Yeah.
No spotlight. That's fine.
Yeah.
The more you talk, the less we have to listen to Rob.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That actually reminds me of another person from RCIA, Sister Mary. And she's just obviously she's a lovely woman. And we got to go, the whole RCIA group got to go to where they live. And I figured I'd choose the wrong word again. And so they
to a nunnery.
They made us dinner. And my uncle is very, very Catholic, and at the time he was making wine, so he had he had a whole mess full of wine, and he gifted it, like he gave it to them, so it was like several gallons, and they were like, "Oh, wow. Thank you, this is great." But yeah, that story just popped into my head from RCIA. I mean, how often do you get to go to a convent, right?
Right.
I mean, it's just a great opportunity. So that was fun. But so we have some other questions for you. So other than being, everything at St. Teresa of Calcutta, what else do you do? Where do you work?
So I work for the National Institute for Newman Studies, or NINS, and it is a Catholic library in Oakland, right across the street from the oratory, down the street from the cathedral. And we focus primarily on the works of, by, and about St. John Henry Newman, recently canonized just a few months ago. So yay! And I kind of got in the game right at that success. I started there.
Did you have to change all the signage there?
Some of it, some things. But I started working there February of last year, and then Newman was canonized in October. So I really hit a sweet spot. And because all of a sudden everybody wanted to talk to folks at the Institute, our director, Bud, he does podcasts too. You might know him. He was suddenly in demand, and everybody was all of a sudden fielding phone calls and the newspapers and that sort of thing. And it was nice. It was nice. And so we have scholars who come from all over the world to do research for their academic work on Newman, and folks who come by just to check out the library and use our resources. So
is it like the exclusive, like, John Henry Newman library?
It's not exclusive. I mean, it's not. We have much more than just his works, but
Oh,
we do.
Okay.
We do have quite a large collection, and we are the proud owners of the largest digital collection in the world. So
interesting. Now he didn't have any connection to Pittsburgh himself, right? So
I don't think so.
Just wonder why it's here.
Because people who love him are here.
That's cool.
Yeah, and
I wonder why that is. That's interesting.
He was a convert also, right? I mean, he was Church of
so
England
he was an Anglican bishop, and he was affiliated with or founder of the Oxford movement, and just through that kind of introspection and study, was drawn into Catholicism and to its truth. And
I always get him mixed up with John Paul Jones, who played bass for Led Zeppelin.
What?
I don't know.
Does he look the same?
Yeah, no, practically identical.
Yeah, but I mean, I imagine there's a lot of material, because wasn't he a publisher or an author or something?
He's a scholar and academician, and
Yeah. What in particular was the key areas that he stood out, like, that were differentiators? Do we know? Like, because that probably ties in with why people embraced him.
Well, Newman is associated, I think, in this country, most of the time you think of his association with university students. One of his most famous works is Idea of a University, and talking about what the obligation is of education and spirituality. And so many cities and universities have Newman societies or Newman centers. So in Pittsburgh, the Newman Center is affiliated with Pitt, Chatham. I don't know.
One of the big,
one, I think, through the oratory. So
that's one of the biggest eye openers as I was learning about Catholicism and considering becoming Catholic, was how much of a starter. I mean, how much I think they began. They built the Catholic Church built the educational system and the model for it, which public schools came from, right? I mean,
Catholic sisters did.
Yeah,
and there are two track of activity there. Catholic sisters, yeah.
Yeah, there was before there was public school. Yeah. Good. I didn't mean to step on you.
That's it is kind of amazing, because you see things on television like Little House on the Prairie is not Catholic, but it does seem as if majority of education of children through the sisters and Catholic universities is a big growth here. So it's nice.
Are you actually associated with the oratory? Are you connected to the oratory somehow?
No, we have a similar mission,
Okay.
but we're not officially
Just
affiliated.
geographically close by.
Close by, spend time together. When we were allowed out of the house, I'd go to the Adoration Chapel. It's nice to be right across the street from the 24-hour Adoration Chapel. They have some phenomenal, education programs. NINS has two major symposiums a year, one in the spring and one in the fall, where we bring in scholars from around the world, so there's just a lot of education-oriented activity on that corner there with us.
Cool. Oh, that's great.
It is.
What's your favorite food, Bridget?
I like Ethiopian food.
Oh. See, I knew that would be interesting. Yes.
Ethiopian. Wat and injera are my two favorites. Yeah.
Where in the world do you get that in Pittsburgh?
Don't. Okay, I shouldn't say that, just in case there's somebody out there who loves the Pittsburgh Ethiopian restaurant. But really, we would drive. My brother is outside of DC, and we would drive to DC for Ethiopian food, or Philadelphia, or Cleveland, or Toronto. Pretty much 5 hours away. There are a couple Ethiopian restaurants here. I think one of them closed. But one year, my brother packed up a whole bunch of Ethiopian food and brought it up for Christmas. That was awesome.
Wow.
So that was Christmas dinner. That was cool.
What was your brother affiliated? How was that? Did he work in Ethiopia or?
No, he just lives in DC, and they have more Ethiopian food there.
Oh yeah, that's near Embassy Row, right?
Some of it is, yeah. So anywhere you go for Ethiopian food, look for the Red Sea or the Blue Nile. The first one that opens in the city will be called the Red Sea. The second restaurant will be called the Blue Nile, and then there's the rest of them. So.
I think in the unique thing, what I've heard special about Ethiopian food, I've never had the opportunity to have it, was that there's a spongy bread.
It's injera,
injera, and then you eat with your hands, everything, right?
You eat with the bread. You eat with the bread. So
you use the bread.
Tray, and all the dishes are turned upside down on the tray. It's very pretty. Very, looks like a mandala. Is that what those things are called? Mm-hmm. And you pick up the bread and eat with the bread.
And you eat collectively together off of the same.
You do,
space,
and so
right?
you go with your friends and family. You don't go with people who don't share.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you ever gone to a Chinese restaurant with somebody who just keeps his own food. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you guys do that?
Yeah.
Do you guys do that?
I would do that.
We do.
You do that? You don't share?
Yeah.
See,
Mike is definitely not somebody that would want to share off the same plate. He's got OCD things going on.
Oh.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like Buca de Beppo.
I've never been there.
You order for the party.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple times that we decided we both wanted something and we were out to lunch, and then I could hear Mike calculating in his head how he was going to be able to get his portion without us continually sharing. So I could hear him saying, I'm just going to take this much right now. Like he was working himself out because he doesn't want to share the dipping sauce, doesn't like to do that. If everything's collectively on the plate, he wants to get it first, so I don't have my dirty, mangy hands all over it.
That's not true. Come on.
Yeah, you are, dude. You're a freak. Anyway, I think Lee's kind of like that too, isn't he?
In what way?
Are you weird about like
Mike
sharing food?
No.
You're not a germaphobe.
No, not at all. If I'm not sharing, it's just because I'm selfish.
Oh yeah, it's more of a selfish issue, right?
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
what I was thinking. Totally different. Yeah, Mike is germs. It's totally germs with him.
Really?
So.
A little bit,
so
yeah.
What are your favorite foods? Let's dive in a little bit. What do you like?
Oh boy. Let someone else go first, Rob.
Oh gosh, well that's really hard. I mean, I love a lot of stuff. My go-to, like when I'm like really craving something, it goes between Thai food and pizza. Like those are my. Okay. I go back and forth, and I love everything in between that. But like, I really love good Thai. I love good Thai food. I love pizza. Growing up with my family, and I love Chinese food. Our version of Chinese was La Choy, canned food. I never went to a Chinese restaurant, so I never been to an Indian restaurant, and so I didn't start experiencing all of these different varieties until I went to college, and then make my own money to pursue different interests. Like my parents were mortified that we lived in a steel town, so there was like one Chinese restaurant, and they knew nothing about what to order, how to order it. So we hit the Ponderosa and the Pizza Hut. That was pretty much in some local joint that we liked. That was all. That was my whole experience, and I'm not knocking them for that. That's just their world, and they stayed within that. When I started eating Thai food and Indian, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like amazing, right? And I drug them along with me, though, and they love a lot of the stuff. Sometimes they don't care for it, but they try. They definitely try, but they just don't want to go in blind and try to figure things out. It makes them uncomfortable. I'm adventurous. I'll go into a place. I don't care, even if it's a different language. I'll just ask the waiter, "What do people normally get here that's really good?" Pick one for me, and I'll go for it.
That's similar to a rule that I have. I always get the special of the day for a couple of reasons. One, it's supposed to be one of their best meals, and two, it's fresh. So that's kind of my rule to get the special of the day. And then also Ponderosa, man, that's rough. I don't know.
I love Ponderosa as a kid.
I could not
loved it.
Ponderosa.
We ate there all the time.
That buffet thing they have going on, that's just a.
I don't think they had buffet when I was growing up. It was just it was steak and baked potatoes and stuff. It was good.
Still have one, right? Or they have?
Yeah, they're still around. Yeah. Oh yeah, my parents loved Long John Silver's. My gosh, we crushed that place a lot.
Yeah, that was just early '80s, man, because that was definitely where we were too.
Right. Yep.
What is Ethiopian compared to? Like, what's it? What would you liken it to for someone who's never had it?
It might be somewhat similar to Indian food. The spices are different.
What if you've never had Indian food? Because I haven't had that either.
Oh my goodness!
Dude, I just ate guacamole for the first time a few weeks ago. Shut up.
Yeah.
It's spicy, and it's got a lot of different ingredients. There are stews, and I don't know.
Okay.
So it's almost like a curry, like a lot of spices together, like in their version of curry, maybe.
Yeah, but some of the spices are just different.
What kind of proteins? Yeah. Like chicken, beef, what?
Goat.
Goat. Interesting.
Yep. Goat, chicken, beef. Lots of lentils.
Okay.
So vegans and vegetarians can easily eat Ethiopian food for days. So it's good.
Are there
that crosses over. Lebanese is another favorite of mine. I love Lebanese food. So Middle Eastern's good.
I feel like I opened Pandora's box there.
Yeah.
What? Talking to us about food?
We talk about food all day long. That's all. That's to live for.
Yeah.
I'm interested in the counter question Bridget had, though. Like, Mike, you didn't come out. Like, what is your favorite food? I didn't hear you. I don't even know what you guys like.
Really?
You guys have been doing this for.
You and I eat everything. We eat everything. Mike and I eat everything, and Lee, we stay in his lane. There's certain areas that he completely forbids, so we have it narrowed. But like, Lee is meat. I know that. Anything meat, no vegetables.
Yeah, if it involves vegetables, I'm out.
Yeah. Mike and I roll pretty close. Like we eat pretty much the same stuff. But I didn't know if you had a favorite that you crave.
Me? I mean, I honestly, I like Thai food. Spicy Thai. Yeah, spicy Thai is good.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, but I'm open. Like I eat whatever. I'm not really super picky, but I don't like lots of hands on my food. That's all. Like that's normal, right? And I like to know where it's coming from. Like I don't want buffet stuff, So anyway.
How about McDonald's chicken nuggets? Is that on or off the list?
That's on.
You don't know where that comes from.
I do.
It's not food. Let me be the truth teller in your life. Not food.
Oh my God.
So are there any Ethiopian restaurants open during this whole COVID thing, or?
No, I haven't left the house.
Yeah, you haven't left the house.
Really? I've hardly left.
I can't. Are you going to go out and eat? Yeah.
Except for this new thing. So I've been co-opted into filming the masses, because every parish is now desperate with their back against the wall for that 10-year parish pastoral plan where we were going to get good at things, then we just didn't, and we had fish fries instead. So, so there's me with a cell, like everybody. I swear, me and my cell phone. And the next week I bought a tripod, and it's just been a fiasco. Which is why, Lee, you'll be helping me someday soon.
Oh, is that right?
I volunteered you to share knowledge, with me.
This is the secret agenda that Mike was saying that you had for coming on the show.
Today, I just want to be honest about the fact that we're in desperate need, and
we're a sister parish.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're in the same city-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will tell you, Lee is very open about saying what he will and will not do. And I'm not going to bring up any of the content, but there has been examples where Lee's been asked to help with something. And one thing you can appreciate with Lee is he's very blunt about it. He's not going to dance around it or make up some reason. He's like, I'm sorry, I just don't have time for this.
I don't want to do that. Yeah. Well, I don't know that. I don't think I'm really, really super needy. I just think a quick conversation, maybe a little,
Okay. Will my help or involvement make Mike look good in any way?
No.
Okay.
Well, because if he wanted to make himself look good, wouldn't he have helped me? I'm just, he bobbed that off immediately. He said, I know a guy.
Yeah.
Right there.
Well, it's funny. When we were talking on the phone about this whole thing, and I kept saying OBF because in my job, we have this concept, this acronym of OBF, and I noticed at one point you said you were very clear. You were like OBS. For the whole recording software. And I'm like, yes. I'm like, oh, that's right. I got that now. It was OBS.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had been using OBS, but it started getting really, really glitchy for us. So we actually use this StreamYard now to live stream our masses.
Nice.
Oh, you do that for your masses too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Did you come up with the idea for that, or just switch
for live streaming masses?
No, of course not. For using this software.
Actually, that was back in 1995 when the internet was.
I invented the internet.
Yes.
Yeah. That was Al Gore. Al Gore invented the internet. We all know that.
We do.
Yeah.
And then the first. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. I'm involved with doing it. So. Yes, it was my suggestion that we use StreamYard. Actually, we just started doing it. I didn't suggest it to anybody. I just said.
I can see the complexity of OBS. Just even messing with Lee, and Lee is far more advanced than I am. I mean, seeing his ability to jump on StreamYard and what he's been able to do so quick. Well, I don't know how long it took him to figure out a lot of these things.
StreamYard's super easy.
And just the professionalism and everything, and then even me figuring out it just seems like they got this dialed in really well. I hope that they become successful and they do well. Well, not too successful where they make it too expensive to afford having it, but it seems like the platform is really good.
Yeah, it is. It is a really good platform. Agreed. Now, OBS, you were asking me, Mike, if this is free, and it is available free, but OBS is completely free. It's open source, so anybody can use OBS.
But it's also complex, right?
It's a little complex, yeah.
It's just the interface is not self-explanatory as well. I mean, I don't know. I don't like a lot of the terms they use and process of moving files around and editing. I think maybe for I'm not an advanced editor. Maybe for somebody the caliber like Lee, he understands it better. But I know for me, it's just gosh, you got to look up on the web for every little thing that you see on there and try to figure out what it is.
Well, actually, I mean, we started using it, and then Angie started actually using it more than me. She's genius level though, so she picks things up easily. Yeah.
Cool. So I guess you might give a little help. Maybe
Someday.
Get a whole parish going in the right direction.
Sure.
But so that's the one thing. Do you help Angie, Bridget? Do you help with the bulletins for the church?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's actually the only communications thing I don't do. I do the website, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, film the masses, email blasts, those kinds of things.
Wow.
But not the bulletin.
Lee, like she is so close to you in form and function. It's like
Yeah.
striking.
Is it just you, Bridget, doing it?
Well, there's always a team.
Sure. But I mean, it's primarily you. It's your job, right? Because it was just me.
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, each one of those things now has people who are on the team.
Mhm.
But it took a while to kind of get enough people in each of those areas that could help out. So, and some people, administrators have access because I feel like it's ethical to do that, but they don't usually have to hop on.
Sure.
So.
Bridget, do you send out email? Do you send out email communications for the church?
I don't send out things in the name of our pastor. He does that himself.
So he asked for his own iTunes gift cards from people.
I don't think so. Yeah, maybe, but he. So
you guys been getting those emails? Hello,
no.
I need a favor from you.
Yes.
No, I haven't been getting those.
They
I feel left
scamming
out.
your priests? Wow.
Yeah. So it's been hard to keep up with all the changes through this COVID crisis. Every 48 hours, restrictions and precautions are changing. And it's been particularly difficult to serve people who aren't online. So we literally start a phone chain, right, with the hundreds of people who aren't online to try to let them know, here's Eucharistic adoration or whatever is happening. And or you can just call into a Zoom meeting. You don't have to have a camera. But by the time we get through that, something has already changed. And so that's been difficult and unfortunate, I think.
Though. That's a much better plan than the one that I suggested at our parish, which was just leave them behind.
Yeah.
Forget them. They can't. It's not
You know what you got to do? You got to call the herd.
Call them.
Like a conch shell or something?
Call the herd. Huh?
It's like a conch shell or something? Like a...
No. Call. C-U-L-L. Call the herd.
Call the herd. I thought you meant call them together.
No.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Call the herd. Absolutely.
No, I was just wondering if you do general email updates and you send them out representing the church, like church events. I just wondered like what your style would be. Like I'm just saying, but like for St. John and Paul, like let's just say there's a series of events that were planned. They have forward dates. I didn't know if you would get into situations that you'd send it out and then 5 minutes later, somebody apparently would tell you those dates are wrong. We need to update that. So 5 minutes later, another email blast goes out. And then 10 minutes later, somebody else says, oh, we screwed that up. And that's wrong. I'm not saying that happens with me. I mean, it might be something I've experienced.
It does happen. I think I make a mistake on every first set of emails that I send. Like I'll misspell something or I'll say Saturday the 22nd and Saturday's really the 23rd. So I personally make a mistake at least once in that blast. So I think people might know.
Well, our experience. So we got excited about starting a blog. I'm just sharing a little story. So our blog, Locusts, we started working on a blog and we start putting our thoughts in. And Lee, we would get into the discussion. We were like, well, so we're representing our brand. Is it okay for us to post things without other people reviewing it?
Right.
And in the team. And Lee's like, you should send it. I mean, you represent, but it's you that's sending it. So yeah, you're part of the Locust brand, but don't worry. I mean, just send it out, right? Well, Mike said, well, I'm new to this. It'd be good if, we kind of reviewed each other's stuff so we see we're on the same page and we're good. So Mike and we're coming with the content. Like I review Mike's real quick and Mike reviews mine. And we're like, yeah, that's good. And maybe there was a suggestion on maybe you should expand on this or that. It was just real rough, high summaries. And Lee's like, are you sure you want us to review each other's stuff and you're okay with that? And we go, yeah. So Lee's response was a 50-page view on all the grammatical errors and word choices that we made, not on the content. It was the grammar. And it was like down to the level of, shouldn't you put a semicolon here? And really, I didn't feel the emotion in what you said here. You used the wrong word. That's not the proper use of the word.
That doesn't sound like me at all.
That was you. Don't you remember that, Mike?
No, I remember.
I think you took it the wrong way.
Yeah.
I should pull the email up. It was great. And then you know what? Mike and I decided, you know what? We don't need to review each other's stuff anymore.
We have a committee. We have a social media committee, and we have a couple people on there that are really, really good editors. And they edit, flyers, banners, but then also the postings that go on the calendar and the website, that kind of thing. So I'm not an editor most of the time.
Lee is scary good at that.
Well, you guys were like spelling Catholic with a K. And, it was...
Bridget, I had no idea that we had all these committees at St. Teresa.
Really? Would you like to be on that committee, Michael?
Maybe.
Yay.
I don't know. I have no idea. And I think the other challenge...
You do. I hate to do this because everybody does this, but you do read the bulletin, right? I mean...
Lee has asked us that
looking
question
for people for the social media committee. I mean, right? That's okay.
Nope. They don't.
And I don't know. You don't know people well enough to know. Oh, this person would be good at that. This person, you don't.
Yeah. Right.
So.
Yeah.
But we do that too, to hold ourselves accountable, to make sure that what's being posted isn't just because I like it or somebody else wants to pray this prayer or honor this saint. We kind of want to make sure it's representative of the parish at large. So.
Yeah, and that's another challenge we have, I think, is we have a definitely an older parish. Absolutely. But I have been seeing some younger families in before, the lockdown or whatever. But that's so refreshing to see, a young family bringing kids in. And I love it.
Yep.
I love it. So what were you going to say, Rob?
I lost my train of thought, and I don't think it's worth even bringing up.
So,
good.
We have some questions here, Bridget.
I've got a list.
Oh.
You sent me questions. If they're different questions, I might just answer these instead, but go ahead.
Yeah. No, that's okay.
Yeah, we got about 10 minutes probably left. Can you believe we've been talking for like 50 minutes already?
I think it's funny that you think that I would go through and make different questions than what I gave you. That wouldn't be fair. So, okay, so we talked about what projects you're working on, and we know during the lockdown you've been doing absolutely nothing except for...
That's not true.
Everything.
That's what you said.
Well, I've been working, but, because I'm still working, but, I have to say that whole media thing really blew up on me.
Oh, yeah.
But we don't have to revisit that. I'll just find Lee later some other day.
So do you have any favorite prayers that you have regularly?
Yeah, I do. I like the prayer of St. Ephraim. I'm a fan of St. Ephraim, actually, whose feast day is next week. I have a favorite scripture, and that's Isaiah 40:12. You guys are converts, and maybe you know it. I mean, you memorize Bibles in your churches, don't you?
Rob probably did.
Flat.
Mike, I don't want to embarrass you. Just go ahead and rattle it off yourself, Mike.
Mike and I were Lutheran, so we were almost Catholic anyway.
Yeah, we were Lutheran. Yeah.
It's who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand, or with the breadth of his hand marked off the heavens. And the reason I remember that, well, I don't always remember it. When I came back to the church, and you know how you're reading everything you can get your hands on, and I was trying to learn and piece it all together. And well, this is the history, and this is the etymology, and this is the scripture. And there was a period of time where I couldn't read the Bible. And for the sake of drama, I'm just going to say I believe it to have been Satan, because I was reading the Bible every day, and I was finding something exciting and new every day. And then I got up one day, and I couldn't understand it. I stood there with this Bible that I'd been given when I was confirmed, and I said, oh, and I would reread, and I couldn't get it. And I didn't understand, and I was angry. So I put that down, and I went and got this other Bible. reading it. I couldn't understand it. I actually ripped things apart in the attic to find a children's Bible that had been given to my son, and I just kept reading it until I could come back. And I don't know what happened, but the one verse that struck me was this one: who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand, or with the breadth of his hand marked off the heavens. And so I've had this picture of Christ, or of God the Father, with his hand out like this, and us just being so much a part of him, like he owns us, like we're part of him. So that's a favorite. That's not what you
Pretty
asked.
deep.
Sorry.
No, that
No,
was
I think it was
part
good.
2 of the question. Yeah, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
But I have, and I thought of that too, because one of the questions you asked was, has anything unusual happened to you? And I can't, I wasn't sure what the question meant, but that was definitely one of the most unusual things.
That's
How
definitely
am I
one.
reading the book when I go to bed and I get up in the morning? I can't, it's this, I didn't have a stroke or anything. That wasn't me.
Bridget,
So-
I absolutely get what you mean. I mean, I really struggle reading some of Paul's letters. Like, it's just, I have to, it's very weird. Yeah. I mean,
The Bible has so much depth, right? Like, even you reading the words on face value, there's meaning under that meaning.
Yeah.
Like, you can read it in so many different ways and it comes from a different point of view. The culture at the time, what was going on at that period. Was this story a carry on from another story earlier that was brought forward? There's so much depth in the stories that are in the Bible. It's easy to understand that it's hard to comprehend. Putting that whole thing together, it's very, but it shows, I think, that helps validate that God breathed life into the scripture because it's so deep.
Doesn't Peterson refer to the Bible as a hyperlinked text?
Yes.
Because
wow. Yeah.
it's
the first hyperlinked text.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really clever.
So many hands, in writing this collection of books. I mean, it's
accumulated wisdom too. It's wisdom that even before the time of the Bible being written, that was shared verbally,
Right.
and it was learned over time as wisdom. Like, this was wisdom that if you follow the principles that we're outlining in here, you're going to be successful. I mean, you've found the key to life. That's the meaning. It's the meaning of life, right? So, but the meaning is really hard to break down and understand. And everybody, Bridget, gets into the same mode you are. I've had many times that I've engaged into it, and I try to read it at face value, and I get very frustrated. I'm like, I don't know what it's trying to tell me. I pray to God and say, please let this stand out into my eyes so I can see it and understand it. It's a beautifully written but difficult story to unpack.
One of the lessons that I teach at RCIA is the Old Testament, and I can't teach New Testament. I don't always get it. I just don't. But I
think the Old Testament would be hard.
When you talked about the hyperlink, that's exactly true. We deal with the back and forth between those references and.
Well, I mean, I guess as far as why Bridget might like teaching the Old Testament over the New is possibly because of all the so rule specific and a little more rigid as far as
it's not. No, it's not.
So why
I don't think it is. I think there are a couple of books that are really rule specific, but certainly the prophets aren't. The prophets are the basis of how we understand a life of God and in Christ, I think.
So why do you think you have trouble with teaching the New Testament then?
I don't seem to know it as well. It doesn't seem to stick,
Got it.
Some things I do, but some I really can't wrap my head around John very well. I'm not good with Revelation. I'm not good with his Gospels.
Mm-hmm.
John comes through less chronicle and there's more art behind his words, right? It's more symbolism, and John comes across that way, right? Like
He's more a theologian, than a historian, certainly.
Yeah, he's very artistic in his writing.
One or two sentences I'm good, but when we talk about a paragraph of John, I seem always to have to start over. What? That's all right. You can't know everything, right?
No, of course not.
Lee, there's that concept with John, particularly on the statue. He's holding a bird in his hand, right?
It's an eagle. Yeah, the eagle represents John's gospel. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's giving
above,
a representation from a really, from above, right? Like the big picture of the whole thing, right? Trying to.
Right. And like Bridget said, he's a theologian, so it's more of a spiritual telling of what Jesus said and did. It's much deeper.
Yeah. Yep.
It is.
So I know.
Something I've always had struggled with, and I'm just bringing it up in the literature. I really had a hard time with symbolism. Like the English teacher would say, "Well, what do you think the story really meant?" I would take it very literal from what the story. Well, John did this and he died. What else is there? We're like, no, you don't even see. There's like all this stuff that means different things. I'm like, that's not what I saw.
And that's what's fun about the Old Testament. That's where you get those building blocks that show you why was there a sacrifice, or why were they in the dark, or why were they on a mountain, or that really, to me, cracks it wide open.
Yeah.
And then things that you read about in the Old Testament or the New Testament are presented. This happened, like in Acts, when these things happen. Well, why did he go on a mountain? Why was he in a garden? Those are things that you'll find in the Old Testament, I think. So he was reminding us of what Isaiah said, and so plus it makes it real for me. It makes it more rooted in, in the arc of salvation history. It reminds me that it's not just so ephemeral, that we're all part of that movement and part of that process. It makes it human.
Yeah.
Cool. So we are up to an hour.
Okay.
Anything else from anybody, or you guys want to wrap it up?
I think that's a show. This is where they usually pull the plug on us.
Okay.
I wanted to ask Bridget one more thing. What's your hobby when you're not churching it up or doing your job? Like, what do you love to do?
I like mosaics a little bit. I'm not very good at all. I like to read.
Mosaic.
To make things with mosaics.
Oh, with like little glass tiles or little.
Yeah, the little glass tiles. But I'm not very good at it. I like to read. I like puzzles. I like kayaking.
Kayaking.
And I'm into jigsaw puzzles. You like jigsaw puzzles?
Yeah, sometimes I do have a little ADHD, so I don't always get to the end of it.
Try combining those two. Try combining jigsaw puzzles and kayaking.
Oh, wow.
And you don't have to worry about getting to the end of it.
Kayaks as jigsaw pieces.
Yeah.
Electronic jigsaw puzzles hold my attention a little better. It's true.
Oh, I didn't even know they had such a thing.
You do.
Mike is buying my kayak this week. I'm getting a kayak that I can have my dog in. So.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So. Well, that's some good commonality there. It was great that you took the time, Bridget. And
thank you so much.
I had a good time. You guys are fun.
Really?
Yeah, and that's what we really try to highlight is, we're not a bunch of fuddy-duddies that go to the church. We're fun-loving people. We have, a life. We're full of warts. We do a lot of things we shouldn't do, but we love God and we try our best to journey on and fight the good fight.
Yeah. And if anybody out there says Catholics are idiots, we go here.
Yeah.
I resemble that.
Yeah.
Well, it's a wonderful thing you did. It's really an extraordinary amount of initiative to do something like this, as a group too, to grow your faith and to enjoy it and to spread the word. It's good stuff.
Actually, I'm going to jump in for Lee. Lee would say, actually, no, it's not. It just takes about 5 minutes, and we just kind of get on. And,
yeah. It's not that hard. And we don't say anything.
But you look good doing it, right?
But
I was surprised Lee didn't jump in and say that, because that would normally, he's like, actually, no, it's not. I still got my pajamas on. I'm a total, No, anyway, no, actually, yeah, and I think I appreciate you saying that, Bridget. I think if we don't hardly get any, we don't get a huge following. It's self-enriching to talk to people like you, and for us to talk to each other and keep encouraging us to cover topics like this, because it keeps us moving forward.
Yep.
That way too. So we would love to have you again sometime.
Sure.
Maybe play a game. You can play a game with us or something.
Oh yeah, we could do like a game show kind of thing.
Yeah, we have to do the lyric thing for a song.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You could each pick your favorite category, and I could do the questions.
Oh, that'd be cool.
But because that's low stress for me. See?
Every time we play a game, one of us is the host. So we've never actually played against all three of us against each other.
Yeah.
That would be fun. We need a prize,
I like it.
Donate a prize.
Well, now that you have a headset, I mean, we can have you
I'm like a professional. But listen, I can't, and I actually even put this on Facebook. I keep forgetting that I'm attached, right? I keep getting up, and when I was trying to, was the camera plugged in, and I'd walk away with it in my hand, and then this thing on my head, I was dragging it across. It was terrible. It's a whole change of habit,
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Bridget.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
God bless.
Bye.
And Mike just dropped off. He's just gone.
Hey guys. Yeah, Mike dropped
Nobody else
off
is
every
here.
time.
Bridget left, which is
I'm here.
I know. No, I'm saying.
We would have a
But Mike was
okay.
the second the song came on. Mike was gone.
Yeah, Mike always drops off.
I don't think he likes us. I think it's all a show.
Yeah, I don't think he
You
does.
think I'm the one who doesn't like you guys, but no, I think it's Mike. Oh, he's coming up behind you now?
I'm looking for him. I'm waiting for
Here
him.
he comes
I think
sitting
he's
in
still
your lap.
sitting there. He's trying to fumble. He's fumbling with it. All right, love you, Lee.
Yeah, love you, man. Bye.